It hit the markets like a thunderclap. Elon Musk buys $1 billion worth of Tesla stock. The CNN cheering blared the number in glowing red digits, as though announcing a national emergency. Bloomberg splashed the word bold across its market feed. Financial Express boiled it down with surgical precision. Why did Musk just do this? On that Monday morning, September 15th, 2025, monitors across Wall Street lit up with a single number that made even seasoned traders blink. $1 billion. The scene, brokers hunched over terminals, jaws tight, adrenaline already humming. Some muttered curses. Others let out sharp laughs. He actually did it. In real time, Tesla stock jolted upward in pre-market trading, green arrows slashing across the screens. Outside the trading floor, the internet quaked. Twitter feeds flooded. This is insane. The richest man on earth just doubled down. TikTok clips popped up with pounding music. Memes of us pushing poker chips the size of skyscrapers onto a glowing gambling table. From ABC News came the confirmation. Musk had scooped up another 25 million shares, a buy that left both loyalists and skeptics scrambling for theories. If Musk wanted attention, he got it in buckets. But attention cuts both ways. Because beneath the spectacle lurked a gnawing question. Was this moment proof of ironclad faith in Tesla's future, or a high-risk theater act designed to show up a faltering image? Critics sharpened immediately. No CEO spends $1 billion unless the ship looks like it's taking on water. They whispered of slowing EV demand, of Tesla's shrinking profit margins, of robot taxes that still hadn't materialized. Was Musk voting with his wallet, or plugging a hole before it became a sinkhole? Supporters, though, roared just as loudly. Who else does this? Who else bets their own billions on their vision? For them, the sheer audacity was proof enough. The debate wasn't measured. It was nuclear. Was Elon Musk a genius doubling down, or a desperate gambler fumbling for attention? And that's where we begin. Because once Musk throws $1 billion on the table, the game changes for everyone. But the real twist, the one no one saw coming, that was just one move away. The $1 billion buy wasn't just a number in an SEC filing. It was a thunderclap that echoed far beyond Wall Street. Tesla is not just another car company. It's a cultural lightning rod. For some, the stainless steel Cybertrucks and silent electric sedans symbolize the death of fossil fuel addiction, the rebirth of American manufacturing, the sleek promise of a green tomorrow. For others, Tesla is the avatar of hype, cultish fandom, and a CEO who can't stop tweeting at 2 a.m. That's why Elon Musk pouring $1 billion into Tesla shares feels less like an investment and more like a stake in the heart of a larger cultural battle. Because when Musk wins, it's not just investors who cheer, it's climate activists, day traders, and tech utopians who see every dollar as proof that history bends in their direction. And if he loses, the collapse stings not just balance sheets, but the very idea that visionaries can beat the odds. ABC News noted the immediate result. In pre-market hours, Tesla stock spiked. Green numbers surged across screens. For a breathless few hours, believers felt vindicated. Musk had spoken not with memes, not with keynote, but with cash, and cash screams louder than words. But dig a layer deeper, and the stakes turn darker. Tesla's once untouchable profit margins have been squeezed in by brutal price wars. Chinese EV makers, BYD, NIO, XPeng, are not just nipping at Tesla's heels. They're sprinting ahead in their home market. American competition, once laughed at, is clawing into the EV space thanks to government backing and incentives. Meanwhile, regulators in Washington and Brussels are circling, asking whether autonomous claims and safety promises live up to the legend. Suddenly, Musk's $1 billion isn't just about showing confidence. It looks like a dare, a rich man telling the world, don't bet against me, even when the horizon looks stormy. And make no mistake, the political weight here is monumental. The Biden administration has tied its climate credibility to EV expansion. Europe enforces emissions deadlines with clock-like precision. Tesla's performance isn't just about quarterly earnings. It could sway environmental policy, influence elections, and tilt global competition in one of the century's biggest industrial revolutions. So what happens if Musk's gamble backfires? What if the stock bump fades, Critics seize momentum, and Tesla misses delivery goals yet again. The cultural icon of sustainable tech could suddenly look like a hollow brand, a once unstoppable titan trying to buy time with billion-dollar theatrics. On the flip side, what if it works? What if this very flex becomes the rallying cry for the next bull run? Imagine retail investors storming back into Tesla, emboldened by their general CEO's courage. Imagine hashtags morphing overnight, from hashtag desperate billion to hashtag Musk victory lap. This is why the move crackles with energy, because both futures feel entirely possible. One path ends with Tesla rising like a phoenix once more, Musk hailed as bet the farm genius. The other ends with him cast as a desperate gambler, torching cash to cover cracks in the empire. And the scariest part? No one can tell which story is real. Not yet. The stakes are no longer just financial. They're existential. The world isn't waiting to see what $1 billion can do to Tesla's share price. The world is waiting to see what it means for the future of industry, climate, and the mythos of its most polarizing titan. And as critics sharpen their knives, it's the darker side of Musk's legend that looms next. Every great drama needs a villain. Not the kind twirling a mustache in dim corners, but the kind who stares down the camera with a smirk and dares the world to doubt him. For years, Elon Musk has played both sides of the coin, genius visionary to his fans, reckless charlatan to his critics. And this latest play, a cool $1 billion buy of Tesla stock, slots neatly into his greatest hits reel of theatrical defiance. The Financial Express framed it simply: why did Musk buy Tesla shares worth $1 billion? The implication whispered between the lines, because narrative is Musk's favorite currency. What moves markets faster than revenue? A Musk stunt, a Musk tweet, a Musk gamble. And if you scroll back to the timeline, the contradictions mount like stacked poker chips. Musk has promised robotaxis were just around the corner as far back as 2019. Autonomy Day flashed with bravado. By next year, he claimed, 1 million cars driving themselves. The years stacked on. The robotaxis did not arrive. Cybertruck, billed as a vehicle so indestructible that, in a notorious demo, its armor glass shattered under a thrown steel ball. Pledges of mass rollouts were made, delayed, reshaped. Timeline after timeline blurred. SpaceX launches rockets that do the impossible, reusable engines, global internet networks. But Tesla investors whisper, are we financing cars or his other obsessions? Analysts on Bloomberg muttered that Musk's personal confidence is undeniable, but so are the twin threats of slowing growth and rising pressure from China. And here lies the villain's contradiction. Musk brandishes staggering self-belief while the empire frays at the edges. Profit margins narrowed in 2024. Tesla slashed prices in cutthroat battles with Chinese rivals. And even as critics pointed to fading demand curves, Musk answered not with transparency, but with a flourish of billion-dollar defiance. It's not just numbers. It's the way the story unfolds theatrically. The timing of the $1 billion buy, just as negative headlines piled high, just as short sellers and skeptics were circling. To his detractors, the move feels less like faith and more like market manipulation with a smile. He did it to prop up confidence, scoff skeptics in financial forums. What CEO throws that kind of money down unless their company image is teetering? The supposed savior suddenly looked like the wizard behind the curtain, pulling levers to create illusions of strength. And this isn't the first time the darker side of Musk's tactics has bubbled into global conversation. Remember, funding secured. A single tweet claiming Tesla was going private at $420 a share, billions in market cap whipped around on the basis of words, not facts. The SEC got involved. Fines were levied. The theater had consequences. Critics see a pattern stretching from then to now. Bold pronouncements, dramatic reversals, public focus magnets. Tesla, they argue, often survives not on financial fundamentals alone, but on Musk's ability to gin up narrative fuel whenever the fire dims. So in September 2025, as the world squinted at the ticker flashing $1 billion buy, the villain edit wrote itself. Here is a mercurial billionaire, smirking at the chaos he stirs, shoving chips into the pot to keep the crowd watching. He's not losing control, he's performing control. But villains are rarely cartoon evil. They are masters of contradiction, brilliance draped in hubris, leadership poisoned by ego. Musk's antagonist is not a caricature, but a warning. When one man's legend looms this large over an entire sector, the risks inflate too. Energy transitions, climate goals, workforce livelihoods, all hovering in the shadow of someone who relishes the fight as much as the destination. Why did Elon Musk buy $1 billion of Tesla shares? The question echoes. Critics answer with one word: spectacle. This isn't a vote of confidence in the car maker's future. It's a chess gambit to buy time, to reset the media cycle, to slap duct tape over sagging headlines. The villain role crystallizes in one image: Musk late night, drafting tweets, memes, quips. Behind him, stock charts free-falling, competition tightening, regulators sharpening pencils. His solution? To seize the microphone again, to never let the spotlight dim. And of course, it worked at least a moment. The world watched. The stock jolted. And once again, Elon Musk proved his ability to bend global conversation by sheer force of audacity. But lurking beneath the smirk is the counter-narrative. Because for every critic painting Musk as puppet master, there are legions who see something entirely different. Resilience, courage, even martyrdom. And they're about to take center stage. For every critic sharpening their knives, there's an army of believers who see Elon Musk as something else entirely. Not a villain, but a protagonist forged in the fire of impossible odds. Because let's rewind. In 2008, Tesla was a startup on the edge of collapse, stalking bankruptcy, while Detroit veterans laughed from polished high-rises. Back then, electric cars were a Hollywood punchline, derided as slow, boring, and impractical. Musk took his last scraps of PayPal fortune millions and poured them into Tesla when nearly everyone else called a grave mistake. He bet the house not once, but multiple times, just to keep a team alive and a dream breathing. And slowly and possibly it worked. Out rolled the Tesla Roadster. Quirky but proof of concept. Then came the Model S, redefining what an EV could be. Beyond its hypnotic acceleration and sleek design, the Model S smashed myths. Range anxiety? Broken. EVs as clunky golf carts? Obliterated. Tesla didn't just make a car. It made a cultural statement. By 2020, Tesla wasn't just another automaker. It was the world's most valuable car company, sitting on a market cap larger than Ford, GM, Toyota, and Volkswagen combined. A California upstart had swallowed the giants. Gigafactories rose in Nevada, Shanghai, Berlin, and Texas like cathedrals to innovation. And through it all was Musk. Unpredictable, eccentric, sometimes abrasive, but always risking more than anyone else dared. That's what makes September 15th, 2025 so compelling. When the headline screamed Musk spends $1 billion to buy Tesla shares, supporters didn't see manipulation. They saw a familiar pattern. This was the man who, for decades, has put his money where his mouth is. ABC News reporting confirmed the facts. 25 million Tesla shares scooped up in one move. CNN called it a resounding show of confidence. For believers, it was no mystery at all. Musk wasn't staging a stunt. He was, once again, back in the only thing he has ever truly cared about, the mission. And that mission has always run deeper than quarterly earnings. Musk doesn't pitch Tesla as a car company. He frames it as humanity's lifeline, the spearhead for a world weaning itself off oil. He said in countless interviews that his goal is to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy, not just please Wall Street. Tesla's existence, in that framing, is planetary insurance. Is it egotistical to put yourself on stage as humanity's savior? Absolutely. But isn't it also unbelievable courage to keep shoving chips forward when everyone else folds? That's the paradox Musk supporters embrace. A man too reckless for comfort, yet too fearless to ignore. The facts line up in his favor. Tesla has built battery efficiencies most competitors still chase. Its supercharger network dwarfs rivals, stitched across continents like a circulatory system of the EV age. Its vehicles aren't toys for the wealthy anymore. Price drops in mass-produced models have pushed them deeper into middle-class driveways, even as profit margins shrank. When critics scoffed at ballooning costs for gigafactories, those factories eventually delivered. When skeptics mocked the idea that Tesla could hold value against Toyota or Volkswagen, it lapped them instead. Again and again, Musk's playbook was ridiculed until the scoreboard shifted. This $1 billion purchase? Supporters see it as the latest chapter in that exact saga. The scene where the hero, beaten and bloodied, staggers back to his feet and puts everything back on the line. Think of it in epic imagery. A lone fighter in the arena, betting his fortune not to prove a quarterly balance sheet correct, but to prove an entire vision unstoppable. Of course, the villains sneer, whisper, manipulation. Heroes seldom appear flawless. Musk has broken promises, flaunted arrogance, triggered regulators, but look past the chaos, and what remains is a man who has always risked his own capital every time the dream seemed fragile. Where most CEOs diversify, Musk consolidates. Where most spread their wealth into yachts, sports teams, and gilded estates, Musk fires his billions back into rockets, solar grids, and electric cars. Picture the scene. Critics howl about desperation. Reporters ask if Tesla's waning demand marks the end. And Musk responds not with words, but with sheets of paper sent to SEC desks. Filings declaring he just dropped $1 billion of his own wealth into the company skeptics say is over. It's a retort louder than any press conference. Fans see it as nothing less than cinematic. One man, in an age of corporate caution and shallow promises, doubling and tripling down on the promise of driving the future. And in the hero's reframing, the question isn't, why would Elon Musk do this? But who else would? Because in this script, the villain role is already filled. Doubt, competition, margin pressure, media cynicism. The protagonist, battle-scarred but unyielding, steps back into the spotlight with wallet in one hand, vision in the other, and that familiar dare in his smirk. Bet against me, he seems to say. I'll bet more. And that's why supporters rally, why Tesla bulls flame to life on Reddit boards and TikTok feeds when this news breaks. Because this is the story they bought into years ago. The myth of the unflinching visionary who once put his last dollars into Tesla's survival, now repeating the ritual at a grander, billion-dollar scale. That's not desperation to them. That's destiny. And yet, destiny doesn't silence criticism. Villains don't step aside just because the hero flexes. No, that's when the real fight begins. And the clash between believers and skeptics is about to explode, louder, nastier, and sharper than ever before. The battle lines were drawn the moment the news broke. By dawn, two armies were already trading verbal rocket fire across screens and trading floors. On one side, the skeptics snarled, "This is classic market theater." One analyst muttered on Bloomberg, his voice dripping skepticism. No CEO spends $1 billion on shares unless they sense weakness. This smells like desperation, like a prop job for sagging confidence. Their words rippled through hedge fund Slack channels and skeptical finance podcasts. When a captain runs around patching leaks with stacks of cash, it doesn't mean the ship is healthy. It means the ship is sinking. They weren't alone. Columnists dredged up the ghost of Musk's past overpromises. Robot taxes delayed. Solar roof rollout sputtering. Price cuts carving margins. The villain edit played like a greatest hits compilation of grievances. Manipulation, arrogance, narrative control. The richest man alive just admitted his company is in trouble, sneered a viral YouTube commentator, but dressed it up as confidence. On the other side, Tesla loyalists bellowed back with equal fury. A chorus rose across Reddit and X, formerly Twitter. He put his money where his mouth is. How is that manipulation? That's leadership. Meme armies compared Musk's bold move to generals charging on their own front lines. Clips circulated of Musk in 2008, pale and exhausted, explaining how he put his last millions into Tesla to save it from bankruptcy. The caption hammered, "He saved it by betting then. He'll save it again." Insults flew like debris in a storm. Skeptics branded believers cultists, accusing them of worshiping a billionaire as though he were a prophet. Believers fired back. "You're the cult. A cult of doubt, too scared of someone actually risking everything to change the game." The war wasn't just over Tesla's fundamentals. It was a clash of identities. Cynicism versus idealism. Wall Street calculus versus Main Street belief. The financial media captured the chaos in play-by-play fashion. ABC highlighted the stock's early pre-market lift, a bolt of optimism. But as the days stretched on, the price gains trembled. Not a plummet, not a collapse, but uncertain ground. Was this the sugar-high spectacle, or the first beat of a bigger rally? Commentators sparred live on air, their body language tense, voices climbing as they argued whether Musk's gamble meant savior or stuntman. Meanwhile, social platforms turned into memes and blood sport. Hashtags lit up like flares. Hashtag Musk all in, the anthem of the faithful, praising fearless leadership. Hashtag desperate billion, the skeptics' rally cry, roasting the move as a panic buy. One TikTok clip hit millions of views in hours, a split screen of a grinning Musk pushing imaginary poker chips, while captions read, "Genius or gambler?" Even within investing circles, the tension bled. Wall Street analysts clashed with retail traders, live streaming to their audiences of thousands. The standoff produced sound bites sharp as whip cracks. Analysts, confidence isn't measured by billion-dollar buys. It's measured by consistent execution. Retail trader, spares the jargon. He's skin in the game while your shorts pray for failure. What made the escalation so savage wasn't only the opposing arguments, but a raw energy of belief colliding with disbelief, hope head-butting fear. Both sides had ammo, both spun facts into fury, and neither side budged an inch. And in the middle of that cacophony, the figure of Musk himself loomed larger than any stock chart. He didn't swoop into the debates directly. No midnight tweet storm, no sudden live stream yet. His silence was eerie, like a general letting soldiers and citizens wage the war of words while he saved his next strike for the perfect moment. The absence, paradoxically, added fuel, because silence from Musk often meant a storm was coming. Every debate needed a climax, a fatal blow, a mic drop, so resounding it would pierce through the noise. Supporters were waiting. Critics were bracing. And when it came, it would hit like lightning, a counterattack that would tilt the battlefield in a single stroke. The war of words was deafening. Analysts sneered on Bloomberg. Critics scoffed in columns. Skeptics jeered across finance Twitter. The narrative was skidding toward chaos. But then the counterattack dropped, not in the form of a rant, not in a meme, not even in one of Musk's infamous late-night Twitter barges. No, this was colder, sharper, and louder than anything words could conjure. It was numbers. Pure, staggering numbers. 25 million shares. $1 billion in personal capital. The filing screamed louder than any press conference. Elon Musk had bet more on Tesla in a single stroke than most entire hedge funds manage in their lifetimes. And suddenly, everyone was forced to look at the one fact no insult or meme could erase. While critics were mocking, Musk was buying. CNN branded it a resounding show of confidence. CNBC's midday panel fell into rare awe. Whatever you say about him, this is unprecedented, one analyst admitted, blinking at the screen as if trying to process the sheer size of the wager. This isn't bravado. This is skin in the game at the largest scale imaginable. Supporters seize it like oxygen. Tell me again he doesn't believe in Tesla. One thundered on TikTok Live, waving printed headlines like victory banners. In Discord servers, retail investors roared. Mike dropped. Why? Because the critics' argument hinged on one powerful claim, that Musk didn't actually believe Tesla could keep momentum alive, that he was propping up appearances. But the counterattack demolished that in one brutal fact. If he didn't believe, why torch $1 billion of his own liquidity? Why push personal chips to the center of the table? The online crowd clapped back in meme after meme. A Vegas poker table with Musk shoving skyscraper-sized chips. All in a gladiator arena with the caption, "Leaders fight in the front." Musk in armor, hurling dollar signs like spears toward a horde labeled short sellers. Inside debate halls, the counterattack landed even harder. One live clash between a Tesla bear and bull on Yahoo Finance cut viral in hours. The bear adamant, this is smoke and mirrors, a cash-burning company needing its CEO to babysit the stock price. The bull leaned forward, sharpened eyes glinting. Brother, if your CEO bet $1 billion of their own fortune on their business, we call them brave. When Musk does it, you call it desperate? No, that's a mic drop. The audience blew up, Reaction clips caught retail investors cheering in real time, scrolling stock tickers glowing behind them in green. And then came the sharper observation. This wasn't Musk asking investors to follow. It was him leading. Leaders don't ask soldiers to charge a battlefield alone. They ride in first. Critics had no retort to that imagery. The optics were unstoppable. Financial Express asked, why did Musk buy Tesla shares worth $1 billion? But in the aftermath, that very why strengthened the counterattack. Supporters threw the question back at critics. If he thinks the company's fragile, why would he buy even more? If he knows a crash is coming, why jump in deeper? The simplest answer is the right one, because he believes. The moment crystallized into a gladiator's flourish. Elon Musk was not retreating. He wasn't hedging bets. He wasn't playing careful CEO. He was doing what only a maniacally devoted founder would, refueling his own creation with personal fire. Internal voices and financial media grudgingly admitted the drama. A Bloomberg strategist, usually critical, remarked, it's the sort of move that changes psychology. Agree with it or not, the confidence cascades. That's the definition of a mic drop. It doesn't need to persuade your enemies. It forces them to acknowledge you. Crowds online ran with it. If the richest man in the world is telling you not to bet against Tesla, with his own billion, how brave are you really betting the other way? Memes juxtaposed Tesla shorts sweating into handkerchiefs as a Titanic-sized Musk smashed poker chips across the board. The counterattack spread with viral force. On TikTok, finance creators staged skits, pretending to be Wall Street shorts watching Musk torch $1 billion, while whispering, please be bluffing. On Twitter, hashtags ignited, hashtag skin in the game, hashtag mic drop billion. Each clip hitting millions. More than spectacle, though, the counterattack's power was in its simplicity. Every critic's words felt complicated, hedged in analysis and models. Musk's counter was brutally clear. Action. If he, of all people, put cash behind his company's future, then the burden shifted entirely. Now, critics had to explain why they were still right, and why Musk himself would voluntarily play wrong. The mic drop climaxed in one viral phrase picked up on forums, podcasts, and reaction videos alike. If you think Tesla is dying, why is the man running at the one buying? It was devastating. It was repeatable. It echoed. In moments like this, narrative changes. It doesn't matter if profit margins are thin, if regulators hover, if China is surging ahead. The perception power of one clean strike, Musk betting $1 billion on himself, can tilt the battlefield in an instant. Markets are human psychology on screens. And Musk didn't just win an argument. He dropped a fact so loud it drowned the noise. Critics weren't silenced. Oh, they seethed, doubled down, muttered at theatrics and bravado. But their words now ricocheted back at them, punctured by the glowing fact in every headline. Musk buys $1 billion. Shares, a global counterattack, executed with one move, had flipped the story. And yet, as markets know too well, a single strike may dominate the room. But the world outside doesn't stand still. The debate wasn't over. It was evolving. Because in the aftershocks of this mic drop, entire networks would react. Media, politics, social feeds, even foreign competitors. And what came next didn't just make headlines. It ignited shockwaves. The billion-dollar mic drop didn't fall silently into the market air. It detonated. And the aftershocks reached far beyond Wall Street trading desks. By Monday afternoon, cable news networks had already split into live panels dissecting Musk's strike. One CNN anchor framed it hushed. There are bold moves in business, and then there are Musk moves. The difference is whether historians end up calling it genius or delusion. Over on Bloomberg, a round table dissolved into heated argument after one analyst compared the buy to Julius Caesar crossing the Rubicon, a point of no return, where retreat becomes impossible. Social media, naturally, dived headfirst into the uproar. Within hours, Twitter's trending bar blazed with dueling hashtags. Hashtag Musk all-in swelled like a digital army, filled with memes of Musk as a poker titan pushing skyscraper-sized ships, or as a general storming into battle with dollar signs drawn on his shield. Opponents pushed hashtag desperate billion, mocking him as a gambler trying to bluff markets with his fortune. One viral TikTok painted Musk as the monopoly man sweating at a blackjack table. Another countered with a video overlaying news footage of Tesla cars cruising quietly through cities, punctuated with bold letters. This is the billion-dollar future. Retail traders, fueled by FOMO, piled into Tesla stock. Discord rooms buzzed. Robinhood screenshots lit up. Musk is dragging shorts into the fire. One user shouted during a TikTok live, grinning as the ticker edged upward. Yet, equally loud were the bears, warning of an artificial sugar high. This dopamine rally doesn't erase Chinese EV market share, a harsh Reddit post ranted, and it doesn't resurrect margins. Mainstream investors felt it, too. Analysts at major banks sent out flurries of client notes, some cautiously upbeat about the signal of confidence, others eye-rolling about temporary sentiment spikes. Tesla is no longer valued on cars. It's valued on charisma, one skeptical strategist wrote, the line going viral in finance Twitter circles. But beyond Wall Street, the tremors struck deeper. Politicians chimed in. One congressman snarked, "When billionaires gamble billions, middle-class shareholders become collateral." Others in climate-friendly caucuses seize it differently. "This is confidence in the clean energy transition," one senator proclaimed, using Musk's move as bullet point fodder for renewable energy passion speeches. Even global competitors couldn't resist sly commentary. Chinese state media, with barely concealed satisfaction, ran op-eds questioning whether Musk's flashy by revealed cracks in Tesla's armor. True market leadership, one piece said smugly, does not require such theatrical gestures. BYD's quiet quarterly press release dropped with subtle sharpness. Confident sales growth, no billion-dollar theatrics necessary. The implied message. While Musk played symphony with stock filings, they were busy eating Tesla's lunch in real markets. Meanwhile, Tesla's employees felt the shockwaves in subtler ways. Some whispered pride, their boss still betting on their blood, sweat, and assembly lines. Others frowned. It feels like pressure. Now we have to live up to his gamble. On internal Slack groups, enthusiasm clashed with anxiety, trickling into forums where outsiders debated if Musk was dragging his workforce into another exhausting crunch saga. The mic drop also reignited age-old debates about market psychology itself. Financial podcasts buzz with philosophical takes. Is stock value measurement or mythology? One host asked. Are we investing in factories or in the audacity of personalities? The Musk buy had reopened the uneasy truth. Money is math and also theater. But perhaps the loudest aftershock came from the average audience, the global everyman watching headlines scroll past phone screens. For some, it was exhilarating spectacle, a plot line worth popcorn. For new retail investors, it was bait. The thrilling idea that buying Tesla wasn't just about returns. It was stepping onto a battlefield alongside a charismatic general. And for skeptics, it was exhausting proof of a warped market system, where one man's ego could shake billions overnight. By Tuesday morning, the dust was still swirling. Tesla stock had jolted, dipped, and leveled in jittery waves. Sentiment was volatile, hashtags still raging. But something enduring had landed. Musk had stolen the conversation again. Rivals were discussing him. Politicians were invoking him. Millions of investors were reacting to him. Whether it strengthened Tesla's fundamentals or not, Musk had won in the only theater he truly needs, the public imagination. And when you dominate imagination, markets often follow. But in every story, shockwaves eventually settle into silence. And when they do, one truth emerges, the lesson we take from it all. And this one, it isn't just about stocks. It's about trust, spectacle, and the fine line between vision and vanity. When the dust of spectacle settles, what remains? For markets, a price chart tagging upward, then sideways, its lines twitching with the breath of thousands of traders. For Tesla's workforce, another notch on the belt of high-pressure mythology, another story of their CEO making global headlines. For Musk supporters, a banner rally, a narrative confirming their faith. For his critics, a flashing sign that ego, not ratios, dominates a stage. But beneath these surface ripples, the Musk $1 billion buy leaves a deeper moral question simmering. What is the true currency of leadership? credibility or performance, spectacle or substance. Because the gamble lays reality bare. Tesla does not live in spreadsheets alone. Tesla lives in a liminal space between belief and doubt, between what is and what could be. From its inception, Tesla has been a company that markets dreams. Its Model S wasn't just a sedan. It was proof that electric cars could be beautiful. The Model 3 wasn't just affordable. It was a democratization of clean technology. And Musk's purchase wasn't just a financial trade. It was a performance designed to remind everyone that the dream still breathes. That's the moral tension here. To make impossible leaps forward, reusable rockets, electric revolutions, planetary visions. Maybe it takes a personality who blurs the lines between genius and showman. But when visionaries blur too far, they risk warping reality until no one knows what's real performance and what's simply hype. For Musk's critics, the lesson is caution. Billion-dollar market moves don't pay bills, fix cars, or close regulatory loopholes. They may distract from falling margins or replace hard execution with flashy confidence. To place worship in spectacle is dangerous, because spectacle fades while fundamentals remain. For Musk believers, the lesson is inspiration. Where other CEOs diversify into yachts or luxury estates, Musk reinvests into missions bigger than himself. He has time and again risked his own fortune to push against the inertia of complacent industries. To them, this $1 billion is no ego stunt, but a reaffirmation of that philosophy. Leaders lead with sacrifice. Heroes don't slink into retirement accounts. They stride into the storm with their own chips on the table. So where's the balance? The truth, perhaps, is that both readings are correct. Musk as manipulator and Musk as pioneer aren't contradictions. They're dual roles. In the 21st century economy, where perception moves trillions and charisma is collateral, every visionary is both. To push the future forward, they must rally markets through both substance and story. But in doing so, they flirt with distortion, demanding faith as well as proof. And that's where the audience, all of us, come in, because the power of Musk's move doesn't end with him or Tesla. The power lives in how we react. Markets are mirrors. Musk toss in a billion-dollar stone, and the ripples are us. Our clicks, our memes, our share purchases, our think pieces. That's the uncomfortable universal lesson. We are not passive spectators in the economy. We are the audience fueling it. Maybe the moral isn't that Musk is hero or villain, genius or gambler. Maybe it's that in a world where narrative is as potent as profit, every one of us has a part in deciding whether billion-dollar gambles become bold victories or historical blunders. Because spectacle works only when we look. Markets bend only when we believe. So the billion-dollar Tesla buy is less about Musk himself and more about us, about the fragile economy we've created, built as much on trust in personalities as on trust in products. And when one personality can shift billions overnight with nothing more than paperwork and spectacle, the verdict doesn't belong to him. It belongs to the collective voice of a watching world. The lesson, then, admire vision, question ego, celebrate daring. But remember, when heroes and villains blur, the responsibility of sorting myth from truth falls not on them, but on us. And that realization, empowering, unsettling, unavoidable, is the true ending of the tale. The story started with a number, $1 billion. One man, one wager, one electric storm ripping through markets. It was never just about Tesla's stock price. It was about identity, imagination, and the blurred line between spectacle and strategy. Every headline, every meme, every tweet, they weren't simply reactions. They were proof that the gamble worked. Elon Musk once again became the axis of global conversation. Was it genius? Was it desperation? That's the question echoing still. To some, Musk is the visionary soldiering forward, betting his wealth on a greener future, carrying the EV revolution like a firebrand through resistance. To others, he's a reckless gambler, addicted to attention, patching cracks with money instead of transparency. And maybe the truth is both. But whichever side you land on, here's the undeniable. A billion-dollar bet doesn't fade quietly. It lingers. It pressures competitors, rattles regulators, reshapes investor psychology. It forces all of us to reckon with the strange economy we inhabit. One where markets rise and fall not just on numbers, but on narrative, faith, and spectacle. That's why this story isn't just the Elon Musk $1 billion Tesla Gambit. It's a reminder that every great gamble reverberates through all of us, believers and skeptics alike. So if the spectacle thrilled you, unsettled you, or just blew your mind, don't let it stop here. Share it. Join the conversation. Light up the comment threads. Because the next move in this drama isn't Musk alone. It's ours, as the audience deciding how much weight we give to vision and how much to vanity. The spotlight has been thrown. The chips are down. The gamble is live. What happens next? That's for history and for us to decide.